Here we are spawning in the upper left. In the blue, he is, for my team, for Alpha X. Give it up for Astrea. And his opponent in the bottom right. In the red, she is the Queen of Blades. Give it up for Scarlet. And hey, ascorbic acid. I could have sworn you followed already, but maybe you follow. I just talked to you in Steadfast channel, and that's why I'm confused. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here tonight. It's a big one. It's Scarlet versus Astrea in the quarterfinals, which is a bit of a shame because I would love for both of these players to go on in, and I may be committing the cardinal sin against team. But I'm still a Scarlet fan. Ascorbic acid, you have a sub here to this channel, but you weren't a follower yet. Didn't know that was possible. But for shame. Welcome, welcome, though. Glad to have you, however long it takes you to get here. Whatever route it takes for you to get here, you're welcome all the same. As now we're just going to have to see what style of Queen Walk Scarlet goes for, because we saw her in the lobby of Chaos versus Scarlet in game number 1. She was talking to Jim. Right? Oh, I missed that. Yeah, I wasn't able to do any of the TSL qualifiers because, really because my girlfriend was in town. And the week prior, I could have done some stuff on Sunday, but I didn't see that it was pushed to Sunday in time. And I had other casting commitments on the Friday and Saturday, which was rather unfortunate. But good to know. So maybe I need to root for Astrea so we can have an even series, because if Scarlet has just dumpstered Astrea like every time they've played, that's surprising considering how good Astrea has looked in like the World Team League and things like that. Maybe he's just saving strats. I don't know. Okay, these Zerglings, they will not be able to get their ultimate prize. Probe will survive as the third base is going down right around that 30 supply mark. That is so standard. And Astrea, he has opened for Stargate. Now, this is Stargate into Warp Gate, so this is the build that everyone but Trap plays. As Trap plays a different one. Trap plays the Warp Gate into Stargate, which, honestly, I find I like more. It gives you a little bit more options. Yes. Well, that is, Chestnut show. Oh, never mind. No big deal. Okay, so where are we at? Void Ray will be first here. Probably Void Ray into Oracle, into second Void Ray into a 350 third base, because that's what we're all familiar with. But again, we were talking about Warp Gate into Stargate, Stargate into Warp Gate. I do find, watching the styles, I do think I like Warp Gate into Stargate just a little bit more. Because yes, your Stargate deck is a little bit slower. I'm really not by all that much, to be totally honest. But you're able to deny the scouting of the Zerg for that much longer, because one of the ways that a Zerg is able to tell that this is a Stargate first is the Warp Gate timing, right? If Warp Gate is not started by really 220, 225 if we're being generous, or assuming they're not, you know, assuming maybe the player is not a Grandmaster, right? If you're looking at your own ladder games, you know it's a Stargate play. But if it is Warp Gate into Stargate, the Stargate it tends to be about 10 seconds late, I think. And which means your timings are not all that different, but you already have Warp Gate on the way. So you're going to have more on the ground to be able to defend the third base. You can hit with some timings that you might not otherwise be able to, and it just denies the scouting, which is the big thing. All right, Zergs at the highest level, at the very least, they play to play the best way they can, right? To play the most efficient way they can. They rely more than anything else on scouting, on playing reactively, unless they're going for an all-in, which even then that does rely on being reactive a little bit. Hey, Astrea does have some neat builds at times. You are absolutely correct there, Olive Juice. He was one of the players that really started to play Stargate style really before it became popular. I mean, okay, so Stargate openers is kind of the only stable way to play the game. Sure, that's fine, but he was playing these early carrier styles like back in, what, early 2020, and they was working too in international competition. But he will sneak a couple of depths here on into the third base. 2 workers will go down. And that should be just about it. 1 Adept's going to go down. Scarlet, yeah, she's going to get both Adepts here. And the Adepts, they're going to look to shade on in. And you know, that was a pretty cool move, right? You shade on in, and oh, that's a dead Oracle. You shade on in, you force the drones to get pulled on in towards the natural, where the Oracles are ready and waiting to cut things off. Yeah, that's a really cool move. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit slow. Look at this, Astrea behind this. This is Charge on the way, +1 on the way, and Dark Shrine on the way. So we're going to have to see how much he's going to get done with this. It does mean that any bit of aggression here from Scarlet is not going to be all that great, as she does not have a lair. So you warp in a couple DTs. That makes the hold possible. That being said, the Dark Shrine is only a third of the way done here. And Scarlet's push is already commencing. It's 5 queens. It's a bunch of roaches, a bunch of ravagers. As Scarlet, she's just looking to punish Astrea for having the temerity to exist in a game with her. Especially with the temerity to lose 2 adepts and an oracle, really for no gain. So now the roaches, the ravagers, they come on in. This is an all-in version, by the way. This is 46 workers. So not a lot, but now Scarlet, she's already going to punch her way on into the natural immediately. The shield batteries are going to go down real fast. The shield battery, yeah, there we go. The biles are going to hit everything else. Now the queens, they found the third base here. How many void rays do we have? We have 1. All right, so this was a ground-based tech, and the longer this goes, the longer the hold is, of course, the better it is for Astrea, because, well, as he loses the void ray, which is a powerful defensive tool, so that's not all that great for him. His natural is absolutely ransacked. 11 probes have died, and, well, oh, why are the Zerglings not ravaging the main base? Not really sure, but anyway, the Twilight count, or sorry, the Dark Shrine just about done here. And Astrea, he's going to lose his main base. He's going to lose his natural. Now, these DTs will eventually be able to clean things up. And Scarlet actually not really microing properly. She's just fighting the Stalker in a wall, which that's never going to be good. So a lot of these Zerglings will go on down, but now Scarlet, she's just going to take the fight on the third base. Getting us around here on top of all of these Immortals is going to be extremely powerful. But with the Shield Battery Overcharge, for a moment here, the Void Rays will, or the Immortals will stay alive, but a moment is more than Astrea needs. Yes, more and more DTs are getting warped on in, but Scarlet just about has her lair done, and at this point, she can lose this entire army, and she will be totally fine here. And she will most likely lose this entire army. Queens are slow, Ravagers are slow, DTs do metric tons of damage. Yeah, actually, you know what? As much as I say Scarlet's going to be totally fine here, it's only army that Astrea is down on. He is at 51 workers. He does have tech, he does have everything that he could want. And if he's able to survive just a little bit longer, he's actually going to be in a fairly good spot in this game. So we have Archons on the way now. +1 on the way as well for Astrea. I believe he had that started earlier, but he canceled it to try to make the hold happen. Granted, that hold didn't happen all that well, but Scarlet and Astrea have similar worker counts. Astrea does have his third base. Wait, did he? No, he lost his natural. That's right. Okay, so he's on 2 bases. Never mind. This is not quite as good for Astrea as I was thinking it was, as I just kind of looked at raw supply. Because, yes, Astrea and Scarlet are equal on workers, but if we look at economy here, we're favoring Scarlet a good bit. So what is Scarlet going to do? He's like, look, I did some damage. I was not able to kill because DTs are a thing. Swarm Hosts. Swarm Host Roach will be the player. So we're going to go up to like 13 Swarm Hosts most likely. A bunch of Roach Ravager as well. And Scarlet's just going to look to hammer the nail on in once again. 9 Swarm Hosts on the way. Scarlet, well, she's just going to be able to max out on this composition. And with the dearth of splash, I mean, yeah, there are Archons, but that's not really splash. With the dearth of splash here on the map, Astrea is going to struggle to deal with the Locusts. Right, that's going to be the big deal. Yes, they can only fight every 42 seconds, I think it is. But when they do fight, there's nothing in this army that Astrea can really combat with. Now, once he gets to like 150 supply, if he gets to 150 supply, maybe gets a little higher, yeah, then you're fine. Then you're able to fight that a little bit better. But until that point, the timing that Scarlet is going for, the sheer power of this army that she's building, is going to be difficult for Astrea to deal with. Because he does not have Storm on the way. He does have Templar Archives done, so he will be able to get cheaper Archons. But that's not what I'm worried about in this game. Alright, so now Scarlet getting aggressive here. The Biles are going to hit. Nope, they will not. Just barely going to miss the Warp Prism. But now we do have the Swarm Host out here on the map. Swarm Hosts are going to drop their charge, drop their burdens. And, well, actually, look at that. A really cool little bit of a Warp Prism micro there. Will force the Locust to land before the Archons take any damage. Actually, the Biles here are going to hit a lot of the Archons, a lot of the Locusts as well. So this initial push is really not getting a lot done yet. Now, there should be some more Swarm Hosts on the way. And that is going to be something here. The bio is actually landing pretty nicely as well. So, you know what? Okay, yeah, there we go. This base will get canceled here. So the 2 Locusts that are on out, that's not going to get a lot done. Okay. 15 Swarmos here out on the map as they're going to look to release their burdens, release their charges on into the main base. Knock down here the tech of Astrea that he has worked so desperately to build. And man, Astrea or Scarlet is just really committing to these Swarmos. She's going up to 18, I think. Yeah, she's going up to 18 Swarmos here on this map, and that is almost too much, maybe? As, yeah, these chargeless will not get anything done. Scarlet with her rally, she's going to be able to clean that up rather easily. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to have to see just how worthwhile this is. The main base does go down. And a couple pylons go down as well. And if Scarlet's just able to knock down a base every time, which theoretically she can, right? Swarm hosts are very, very powerful to do a ton of DPS. Maybe that's going to be worthwhile, but when you have, what is that, 36, when you have like 54 supply of Swarm hosts as your army, I mean, that is not a lot of supply for roaches, especially with how supply dense roaches and ravagers are. So I'm a little bit worried there, but I guess not too much, as now the rest of the Locusts are going to find their way on in with the roaches as well. Scarlet, she's looking for this fight. This disruptor shot is just going to get targeted down immediately. The Locusts get right on top of it. And yes, there are Immortals here. Immortals do good work. Actually, they do fantastic work, as all the Immortals will stay alive. And it's that much harder here for Scarlet to really push on in, because again, 54 supply of her army is in Swarm host. So if you look at what she actually has, it is 6 Ravagers, 13 Roaches, and a whole bunch of Swarm hosts. So that's what I'm worried about, right? If Astrea can stay here, yes, he has taken some gut punches, to be sure, but if he can find some way to get a somewhat decent supply and keep taking these good trades against the Swarm host, and he's going to assassinate a couple right here. Really good move here from him, from Astrea. He's not going to be in that terrible of a spot. Now, a couple Locusts will get forced on up, and that should just go down to the Disruptor. But now we do have the flight coming on in once again, and with more Disruptors going down, yeah, the Locusts are just going to knock down a bunch of these Stalkers. Warp Press and Micro is very good indeed. But really, it's just a game of attrition, I think, right? Scarlet, yes, her army can only ever fight every 42 seconds, but because she's doing such a good job of keeping Astrea in his own base, at every 42 seconds is, well, it's a lot more up than it is down. So now the Stalkers are getting a lot of these Swarm hosts, actually. This is a lot of Swarm hosts going down. And interestingly enough, Scarlet is remaking them. She's not taking the opportunity to transition into something else. And Scarlet is absolutely losing this fight. Astrea is taking a fantastic trade indeed. All the Swarm hosts are going to go on down. 14 of the 18 Swarm hosts have just died in that last fight. I mean, we talk about the trials and travails of uptime versus downtime. Yeah, Astrea lost his main base. Yes, he lost his natural. Yes, he's only on 3 bases, but you're able to keep trading like that. Well, actually, no, he's trading worse, but supply. I don't know, it's weird. I keep looking at this and I'm like, yeah, Astrea's at 100 supply, but he seems to be winning the fights, but this is not an army that he can ever really attack into. This is just an army that he can maybe beat on the defensive. Yeah, Scarlet went from this macro goddess to a real dynamic player. So yeah, this Disruptor will just go on down. And now, you know what, now I think this is the beginning of the end. I'm like, yeah, maybe Astrea can do something. He just took that fight really easily, but Scarlet had a massive bank behind it. And yes, we do have Astrea. He's blinking for his life, but unfortunately, well, Scarlet, she just never closed her eyes. So she's not going to be able to blink in exchange. And now the Biles are going to look to land, and they won't win the fight. But what they will do is they will force the Stalkers back, which means the Disruptors go down. And, well, now the Stalker's blink is on cooldown. More and more charges getting warped on in, but this is a fight that Astrea can never win, no matter how hard he tries. The upgrades are equal. The supply is not. The quality is not. And Scarlet, she's just going to be able to keep pushing her way on in. Stormho's going to drop on into the main base here. Disruptor shots, not really going to be all that great. And there we go. Disruptors, they're not even going to be made anymore here. Scarlet, she's going to find the Stalkers on the right-hand side as well. And, yeah, it is Astrea dead. No, he's still in the game. Is he dead in any other measurable way? Absolutely he is. It is 113 army supply to 24. He's down on economy. He's down on upgrades, or not on upgrades, but he's down on army. He's sitting here. His supply is over doubled at this point. And he did take that one good fight outside the 4th base, so I guess that's maybe what he's looking for. So those Disruptors are going to be fairly decent. But the Swarm hosts, they are off cooldown once again. Once the Swarm hosts go on in, I think that's going to be it. I think that is going to be the nail in the coffin here for Astrea, but I mean, credit to him, he is fighting hard indeed. There we go, Swarm host killing on everything. Yes, Stalkers are going to try to find the Swarm host here, but that's just not going to be useful whatsoever. Scarlet, she's broken the 3rd, she's broken the natural. Pretty soon she's going to break the main base, and well, Astrea, I can understand his frustration. It felt like he maybe had the hold when he was able to wipe out so much of that of that Zerg army with the DTs. But well, it was not enough indeed, and there we have it. G, the single G into the double G. Astrea. He follows Scarlet. She takes game 1. Man, I am so glad that I got a fancy new microphone. You all have seen it on stream. It's a pod mic, but the big thing is it's a dynamic microphone, which means really one thing. It means that it really rejects all sounds like outside of a 2-foot radius. I mean, you can hear the difference between when I'm really close and I get the nice proximity effect, even if the windscreen's not great. And if I step back right here, I mean, it's not nearly as good. And that's like 1 foot difference. So it's fantastic because I have a road right outside my window, and we're getting that point of the year where it's not just cold all the time, so it's always cold inside too. So I can open my window, and you all won't hear the cars. All I gotta yell at, all I gotta worry about is some angry neighbors, and well, they haven't been angry yet. So it makes me very happy. It means I'm able to do what I do and not just melt, not turn into the Wicked Witch of the West, as Astrea does show up on in the natural. Lets everyone know that he does in fact play Protoss. Hey, Whiskeroo. Whisker00. I choose to believe your name is Whiskeroo. If you take issue with that, let me know. Welcome, welcome. Oh, now we got the competing fandoms in here as Alphax people starting to showing up, cheering for their boy Astrea, who, again, he's no slouch. Even if Scarlet has like 2-0'd him every time they played recently, he's no slouch. And he has had great games in the Alpha Team League, or the World Team League, excuse me. He has, he's looked damn good over the last couple months, but Scarlet may just have his number, as this adept will not be able to get on in. And once again, this was Stargate opener from Astrea. No surprise there. This is a good map for it. You can get your third base rather easily indeed. This adept will shade on in, get just about nothing done, but hey, it's Scout. And he will see that, yes, Scarlet is droning a Supernatural. This is not a Ling Flood, which is kind of the timing he's looking at there. Making sure that there are just not a lot of Zerglings hiding in the main base right as speed does finish. Although, realist, yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, that's right around that timing. So that's what Astrea is looking for, and he's going to say, yeah, Scarlet, you're not Ling Flooding me. Granted, on this map, Ling Flood is objectively terrible, especially considering, yeah, oh, this is an interesting wall indeed. It's kind of a double-tiered wall with the pylon here and the second gateway. So the pylon is protected. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen a wall like that. So that means any sort of bust, it's going to be a little bit harder unless you have, ranged units, and it doesn't really matter. But any sort of Ling Flood, any sort of Bane bust, which, it doesn't really happen. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because, yeah, honestly, never mind. The pylons are normally pretty protected, but, well, not in this way. With kind of the recessed type of core. It just looks a little bit interesting, I guess is what I'm trying to say, as I am wholly incorrect about everything. Yeah, no, dynamic mics are fantastic. Oh, hey, Y-Shark. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for the raid, dude. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you had a good stream, and thanks for the follows, everyone. Or Zeolabrith. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we do have a couple of depths. They're going to try to dive on here into the natural, and they will be successful. There are already Zerglings here. There are already Queens here. Astrea, he may just get as much as he got last time. But maybe not. As, well, yeah, he's going to get 4. He's going to get 5. He got 1 more drone than he did the last time. Is that going to make the difference? I don't know. But yeah, Shark, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. What were you doing? What were you covering this evening? Were you playing some games? Were you talking about something? Love to hear about it. As Astrea, once again, he is going for charge out of this. This is a single Stargate opener. Right, so charge +1. Robo's on the way. He's going to have a very powerful ground army if he's allowed to get there. And Scarlet looks like for the moment she will allow him to get there. This is a lair on the way. An Evo chamber was bought. So what that means is that, well, she's not going to get all that much done, right? Or she's not going to get, I'm not going to say she's not going to get that much done, but she's not going to get all that aggressive early. There's a 4th base on the way. She's going beyond 46 workers. And all that does mean is Astrea will be allowed to play the game that he wants to play. You could tell he was a little bit salty about game number 1. Now, I don't know whether that was the salt of, man, I should have won that game, or the salt of, oh, Zerg Zimba, or just kind of sitting there trying to figure out what he was going to do next game. But I mean, he was in that game a whole lot longer than he was alive in that game. Or maybe he saw some path to victory that I just was not aware of. That is always the possibility. I like to think I study this game a decent amount. I mean, I'm a Masters player. I cast a lot of StarCraft. I see a lot of StarCraft, but certainly the pros, they know a lot more than I do. They can surprise me indeed. So maybe there was some path to victory that Astrea saw that, well, those of us at home didn't see. There we go. So +1 just about done here for Astrea. Charge as well. He does have his 4th base on the way. So we're going to have to see whether Scarlet's going to look to break down that 4th base. I don't think... This is... Okay, this is weird, right? We have +1 ranged on the way here. Approach speed as well. Baneling Nest on the way. Cool. I mean, that would tell you there's going to be Hydroling Bane. Scarlet, actually, she's not going to pull in time. This is going to catch literally everything. Well, not literally everything, but just as the maximum amount. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 10 drones that are not mining here. And also, this is a Spire Opener that has been scouted. So that's a bit of a problem. But now Astrea, he's going for that timing that is so powerful out of a Stargate Opener. It is Charge Left, it is Archons, it is everything. You're like, yeah, the Zergs. They're expecting me to do something else. They're expecting me to actually be greedy here, actually do something with this 4th base, but that could not be further from the truth here. As the Charge Left, the Archons, they're moving on in. Drones are already starting to die as they are stacked up here on a bunch of Archons. That is going to be a lot more drone carnage rather soon. And yes, we do have more roaches on the way, but Astrea, he may just kill Scarlet with this very movement. More and more Charge Lefts are finding their way on in. And ladies and gentlemen, we talked about how Scarlet has 2-0 at Astrea every time they played in like the last 3 times. It's looking a little bit less auspicious here for Scarlet in this game, but of course, the longer she can kite this out, the better it is for her. As she's able to get out more and more roaches, she will be able to have +1s, which means she can fight a little bit better. And she still has not lost that many workers. Now, the Archons have found their way out behind this 3rd base, and that's going to be a bit of a problem, but you know what? Scarlet will be able to survive. Right? This blindsided her indeed, but it will not kill her. And that means Astrea's going to have to back up. He's going to have to try something else. Oh, cool. I've played one of those games. I played World of... Oh, okay. Stasis Trap's not going to be quite as good as it once was, but less gas mining is always going to be a problem. I played World of Tanks a little bit back several years ago. I've never... Well, I guess I've played Halo, like going over to a friend's house. I didn't have a gaming system going out. And I was not allowed to buy one. I was, however, allowed to buy an Inspiron 4000 laptop with the money I had saved up over like years of chores. So I could play... I could load Flash games at school, like from Armor Games or addictinggames.com or something. Load them up at school. Keep them loaded on my web browser, take them home, because I didn't really... Actually, for the longest time, I didn't have internet I could connect my laptop to at home. Which is why it had to be a laptop, not a desktop. And it was a pretty poor laptop. It had an Intel Graphics Media Accelerator 4000, like the first generation of it. But you know what? I bought it with my own money for like $450, and I was so proud of myself. And I played a lot of different games on addictinggames.com. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to get a console, even if I had the money for it. My parents did not support that whatsoever. Anyways, though, we do have Mutas now finally on the way here for Scarlet. She does have +1 air attack. And she knows this was scouted, but also she knows that she hasn't built any Mutas. She didn't really use the Spire for quite a while. So Astrea may assume that these Mutas are just never going to come out. I guess that's what she's banking on. Now, Astrea does have +1 air attack on the way. He's adding his 2 additional Stargates, so he is going on to that next level of his tech. But if Scarlet can get these Mutas across the map and actually get something really significantly done with them, well, that's going to be fantastic indeed. And you know what? A good way to start is knocking down this drop here. As the Zealots will be allowed on out. Only 3 of them will pop. And hey, Zelio Breath, thank you so much. Thanks for gifting that sub. You know, with that, I'm actually... I recently unlocked one more emote as I finally got above 25 subs. And because of the generosity of people, I'm like only 6 subs away from getting another emote slot. So that's pretty fun. Anyway, roaches are going to move on in. Yeah, they're going to eat like the entire storm, but they're roaches. They care about storms a whole lot less than they do other things. So now we will have the roaches. They have found this 4th base here, or 5th base here of Astrea. Meanwhile, the Mutas, they're trying to find their way on into this 3rd base. They're not going to get a lot done yet. There's a lot of Blink Stalkers. And with a shield battery overcharge in the cannon, they will be forced back here for the time being. But here is the thing, right? Scarlet has forced things that are not carriers out of Astrea here, as the 5th base will go down. And Scarlet, she's building more Mutas, though, which is interesting. Normally, this is something that we've seen. DRG and Solar, I think, do more, and Raynor more than anyone else. Look at all these High Templar getting sniped down. That is so much gas. Anyway, this is something we see Raynor and Solar do, probably are the 2 biggest culprits of this, where They play Muta Corruptor. They play Muta Corruptor like it is 2014. And it works out really well, actually, because if you're able to take the trades that you need to, if you're able to get the Corruptors like you need to. Okay, now, I mean, these Mutas are dead now because there are no Corruptors here to buffer, and with Anning Pulse Crystals and +1 and 3 Phoenix at a time, I mean, this is just dead Mutas. So notice, Astrea, he had more Mutas on the way, or more Phoenix on the way. He's like, okay, this threat is countered. I'm fine. And now we do have a bunch of Baneleys rolling on in here. Storms are going to land. That means Scarlet's not going to get a whole lot done. Now the Roach is trying to get on top of things, getting as good trades as possibly can, but that entire army from Scarlet has evaporated in an instant. And I worry that she's just committed to too low tier of attack. Now look at this Phoenix on the other side of the map. They're just going to look to supply blocks so much. We do have Hydras coming on out, but they are not in high enough numbers, so they're just going to get sniped down by these +1 Phoenix. Now 1 Phoenix will go down. Oh, that's nice. Actually, really nice target fire here from Scarlet. We'll be able to force these back, and that will buy her time to get the Hydra count that she needs to really deal with this. And maybe if she can kind of hit with like a Hydraling Bane timing. With how many storms do we have on the... Yeah, we don't have a single storm here on the map. She's able to do that. Maybe, just maybe, she still has a chance in this game, but she is down in supply, she's down in economy, she's down in upgrades, she's down in tech. It's a problem. Yeah, Bold Action Jackson, I might look into that, but again, I cast a lot of StarCraft, and I am also a PhD student. I barely have time to play StarCraft, which I kind of need to do to be any good at casting. Actually, I haven't played much at all recently, which is a bit of a problem. I can like notice my minutial information is just not quite where it needs to be. Minutial's not a word, but you get the point. But yeah, maybe this summer I'm going to be interning. I'm going to be casting a lot, but I'm not going to be full-on PhD, so maybe I'll have time there. Because now we do have this army here from Astrea. It's found the 3rd base. It has actually killed off the 4th base. These storms are not going to be all that great yet, but Stalker's going to blink on forward. And you know what? There's not quite as much damage here in this army as Astrea would like, because, well, a lot of it is, you know, in carriers and other things. So the supply here is a little bit surprising, but that's not going to matter. GG Astrea takes game number 2, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, gals, non-binary pals, we have a series on our hands. Anyways, we do have these oracles. They're going to fly in right as the spore does complete, but they will be able to get a couple drones for their bounty. By now we have queens in position, so oracles, they're not going to get much more than that. Oh man, if I was better, or if my mod was if Trethris was doing what he should, we should have predictions here. But unfortunately, it's really hard to run predictions when you're 2 minutes behind, especially when alt tabbing out of a StarCraft game drops it to 20 FPS. Now this is something that it's a known bug. I brought it up to ESL, and we're hoping it's going to eventually get fixed. But it does mean that if I'm on a single PC stream, which is what I'm doing, running predictions here on a 2-minute delay, when if alt tabbing is going to make the stream look terrible, it just doesn't work out all that well. Very sad. I do apologize. I should learn to. I should just start running it on my phone. Anyways, this is a Spire opener here from Scarlet in this game, and the charge timing that really didn't kill her, but kind of killed her. Well, it's not going to be quite as powerful. It will not be done before Spire is close enough to done to not being matter. Close enough to being done to not really matter, but again, if Astrea is able to move across the map, and with this Warp Prism, just warping a bunch of Archons, warping a bunch of Zealots, even if the Spire is done, Scarlet's not really going to be able to build what she needs to defend this. And it looks like that's what Astrea is gearing up for once again. As we do have, well, 3 bases are here, sure. We might see a 4th base get started soon for not a lot. But there we go. 2 Archons are on the way. Charge is about halfway done. And with the Warp Prism moving out here on the map, it looks like that is what Astrea is gearing up for once again. Now, Scarlet, I think she's learned from the previous game. She will see this Warp Prism out on the map. So we do have a bunch of roaches on the way, and +1 is just about done. Scarlet, more and more roaches are on the way. Arca or Overlords as well, so she should be in a good position to deal with this. Okay, so that was a while ago then, Zogger. Okay, so these adapts are going to try to find their way on in the main base here. Were those not the Warp Prism? I guess they were. They will get some damage done. 3 workers will die. That's going to be just about it. And now I think Scarlet has bought herself enough time to actually start building the mutas that she wants. to actually make use of that Stargate tech, which... Has that been scouted? Where is her Spire? Okay, this one Immortal on the map needs to be very careful, but yeah, the Spire has not been scouted, so 10 Mutas are on the way. Astrea was not able to hit that timing. And this Immortal, Scarlet, you wanna kill the Immortal? Like, what is this Immortal doing? Like, this is rallied. Why is this Immortal still? What is happening here? Why is this Immortal allowed to be alive? Yeah, okay, now Scarlet's gonna realize that this is actually a real Immortal. This isn't just like a weird hallucination scout. So this Immortal will be donated to the cause. Eventually, Scarlet, please go kill that. But now we have the Mutas here. They're gonna try to find their way on into the 4th base. They're gonna get some worker damage done. And we're gonna have to see just how much. Did I see a Phoenix on the way? No, I did not. There we go. +1 is just about done here for the Mutas. +1 for the Zerglings as well as none of these are gonna flap their little stubby wings on into the main base. And hey, they're not gonna get any probes yet. They got 3. They are going to continue to kill Stalkers, and +1 being just about done is going to be a massive power up for them. Now, when we look at Muta tech, when we look at Muta play in this game, well, the obvious thing here, the most obvious thing when we look at how this game is going to go, is Ling Muta is not an army that can fight a Protoss army head up. That just doesn't happen. I mean, look at all these Archons here. It's not a fight. So it almost always turns into a base trade, which, considering the way Scarlet plays, I would favor her in that, I think. Now, we do have a couple Stalkers getting warped on in, but I mean, that's just not going to get that much done. Because, well, these are a bunch of Mutas, and they will be able to knock down these Stalkers. So already, they're forcing positive trades here for the Zerg players. More and more drones, or more and more probes, excuse me, do go down. Now, the one thing I got a question here is Scarlet's massive commitment to Muta play. She is on 23 Mutas. She has more and more and more on the way. She's going up to 30 Mutas here in this. She's going for like a Muta all-in, which sometimes works, but I feel like that's a very dangerous style to play, especially when your opponent has 5 Archons and a bunch of +2 Blink Stalkers. Now, Scarlet with good micro, immediately she will be able to knock down a lot of these Chartlets, but she can't take the fight ever when there are Archons on the field, and the Roaches can't take the fight where there are this many Immortals, especially not down an upgrade like this. Yeah, and Trethris, I know I never told you to do that. I know I never told you to do predictions, but you should have known anyways. Anyway, we do have Scarlet here. She's going to rotate on into this 3rd base here from Astrea. And Astrea, I mean, he will have Blink Stalkers here, but that's not really going to be nearly enough, not yet. So we do have, okay, now there we go. Astrea feels like he's stabilized enough. We do have 2 more Stargates on the way, +1 on the way as well. So his air response will eventually be there. And while Scarlet is in a better spot with her Mutas than she was in the previous game, she did not take that much damage. She got her Mutas faster. She has more of them. She's going to have +2 Muta attack. Astrea's not taking that much damage. But now, oh, you know, he might hear now as Scarlet has drawn his entire army on into the 4th base, which means Scarlet, excuse me, can dive on in there, knock down some pylons, knock down some probes, and now we're starting to see maybe a little bit more damage. But a little bit more damage, I'm not sure that's enough. Now, +2 melee attack is on the way, so eventually Banelings will be able to run on in and maybe knock down a mineral line. But really, it's not a question of minerals anymore. It's not a question of anything like that. It is very much more a question of whether she can fight the army, or whether she can fight around the army well enough where she's going to be able to take the fight. So with all these Stalkers here, right, with the +2 Zerglings that are soon to be here, yes, Scarlet can take this fight for now. But now we have Phoenix on the way. We're going to have a lot of them. Annie and Pulse Crystals is already on the way. And all of that together does mean that this time of these Mutas is short, and it is not nearly as sweet as it needs to be. That being said, though, Scarlet's taking a really good fight here, knocking down a lot of these Stalkers before the Archons really come to bear. And there we go. That's the damage we needed to see. 23 Banelings, or 23 drones just died. Yes, it is only +1. But if you get enough Banelings on in there, the drones will die all the same. So the Mutas are going to look for this fight. Or, excuse me, the Phoenix, I guess, are going to look for this fight. But they don't have any Pulse Crystals yet. Now they do. So now these Mutas are dead. And we should maybe see some Archons get built. Oh, nice turnaround there in the speed zone. Scarlet will be able to get some positive trades. And Astrea here, he's kind of effectively going all in. Yes, he was able to rebuild his probes, but his army here, this is not an army that Scarlet can fight, so now we have the base trade scenario. Now we have that scenario that is a little bit scary here for the Protoss, but again, we are going to have 7 or 8, what do we have right now? 7. We're going to have 10 +1 ending Pulse Crystal Phoenixes. And Scarlet cannot fight that. Now, if she gets like 10 Corruptors, which she will now, she may eventually be able to do that. But man, the Phoenix, they're just going to chase it down because Phoenix are faster than Mutas. And when they do have that extra range, I mean, not a whole lot that Astrea can do. But meanwhile, Astrea is cleaning up here on the other side of the map. This is not a fight that Scarlet can ever take. Not with these 5 Archons. Not with +3 soon to be here. And her Mutas, she can't really fight with them either. So yes, she has a supply lead. Not even an army supply lead, though. And okay, now here's where things get a little bit dicey. The Corruptors have joined the fray, which means these Phoenix are not as powerful as they would otherwise like to be. And if Scarlet can box them in, she can still take the fight. But I'm still a bit worried because now the natural is dead. The third base is going to be dead soon. The fourth base is dead as well. Scarlet has lost 49 workers. And yes, we've been looking at this fight as if that's the only fight in this game. But really it is, right? Astrea will eventually be able to eliminate all of Scarlet's structures, be able to eliminate all of her production. And she will quickly lose the Spire as well. So she's just trying to get as many Corruptors as possible before that does happen. Astrea still has the mining base. He still has the main base. And Scarlet, all she has are Mutas and Corruptors. Only 4 of the Corruptors as well, so that's not going to be all that great indeed. Actually, this is what we're going to look at from here on out. Yes, there are 21 Mutas. Yes, there are 4 Corruptors, but it is the 13 Phoenix that are the problematic thing. Oh, 11 Phoenix, actually. So Scarlet's actually taken some fairly decent trades, but all of her infrastructure is now dead. It's 5 Zerglings, and that is just about it. That is not really enough, especially as we do have a lot of static defense popping into the third base. But the Queens are doing a really good job here of forcing the Phoenix back here for the time being. And with the Corruptors and the Phoenix, actually, that's a lot of Phoenix going on down. It's only 8 now. And now Scarlet's going to be able to jump on top of them, but the Phoenix, now they're taking the fight. And Scarlet, she is forced to back on up. It's a fight that she can't take, but it's a fight she cannot afford not to take here. As now the Phoenix, they are standing strong, but they are starting to go on down. And Astrea does not have a lot of money, but he is still mining. And with these Corruptors going down, there is no bodyguard for these Mutas anymore. So they will find their way on into the main base. That's not going to be enough, though. GG, Astrea. He may have lost the last 3 series 2-0, but no one beats Astrea 4 times in a row. GG, Astrea is going to take the series and going to fight Solar in the semifinals.